friends. This is James and Kara, and we are Kerouac Cruising.
We are taking you on a journey traveling the country with our dogs and finding remote places where the dogs
And us.
can roam free and play while we discuss life's growths, beauty, and some struggles along the way.
We recommend pairing our episodes with our blog at kerouacscruising.com, where we organize accurate information in an easy-to-follow format, removing all of the conversational goodies.
The link for this episode's blog post is in the show notes.
We encourage you to join the conversation by commenting where you listen, engaging with us on Facebook or Instagram at Kerouac Cruising, or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com.
In the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Sit back and enjoy the journey.
Good morning. Thank you for joining James and Kara at Kerouac's Cruising. Today we have a special guest. Kara's going to introduce her and talk a little bit more.
So this is my dear, dear, dear friend, Sylvie Stewart. We have, I don't know, 2016, I think we've known each other since. I used to work for her. And I guess at the moment I'm still technically am. But over the years, not only has she influenced pretty significantly the changes that James and I have gone through, she's got this magical way of like implanting seeds that just kind of grow and flourish. And I've teased her over the years that she throws me into the best rabbit holes. And one of the things James and I are, doing this whole podcast about is we've gone through this big transformation where we're getting and have gotten away from what we feel like we should do and getting more into what we want to do, or rather than do what society says we should do, getting more into what we want to be doing or what really fits us best. And Sylvie has just really gone through this massive, amazing, gorgeous transformation. It's been amazing to watch. So Sylvie, if you want to talk a little bit about yourself and kind of how you got to Taproot EFT and all of that you got going on.
Yeah. So, I was diagnosed in 2012 with stage 4 leukemia and lymphoma. And it was the type that was only seen in 70-plus-year-old men. And so they did not know what to do with me at the time. I didn't like the kind of like, let's just see if this works options that were offered. And the doctors didn't seem super confident about that. So I just started kind of on this healing journey. And I was doing real estate, which is where we met. And that kept me, full-time busy between working on just making my body strong and business. And then I was stable. I wasn't, necessarily in the clear, but I was stable until about 2022. And then I got COVID. And it was then that kind of took the legs out from everything that I had done health-wise. And I was starting to, just before that, kind of get into this thought of, maybe there's an emotional component, because I was controlling all the physical parts of my day, right? Like what I ate and all the things around me.
I remember you
So-
were like very strict regimented.
Yeah, totally. And it still wasn't moving the needle, and so it's like, gosh, there's got to be something else, but I just don't know how to access that. And so when I got COVID, it knocked the legs out from everything that I had obtained for the last, the previous 10 years. And then I ended up getting strep pneumonia, which I was pretty sure was my gallbladder. I did not know it was pneumonia at the time. And so I was determined to save my gallbladder. So I went on all these cleanses and just sat in my recliner for over a month because I couldn't lay back, because if I laid back, my back would go into spasm. Yet I was still determined to keep my gallbladder. And so it got to the point where, I just couldn't, I really couldn't take the pain anymore. And so we ended up going to the emergency room, and I was like telling my husband, I'm like, make sure they save my gallbladder. He's like, okay. And the doctor was like, it's not her gallbladder, it's her lungs. And we're both like, wait, what? No clue.
Yeah.
And so I had to get this life-saving lung surgery, and I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. And when I got out, I was back in my recliner, and I went through like a dark night of the soul, right? Because I have 2 little kids, and I was like, how did I like literally get that close? Oh, because they said I was 24 hours from organ failure at that point.
Oh my God.
And it's an important piece of the story too, is that when I got to the hospital, I was talking to people that weren't there. My husband's like, I have no idea who you were having conversations with. You were having like the craziest conversations. And I have no idea what happened, like what those conversations exactly were. But I do remember the agreement was that if I were to come back, I had to be different. I had no idea what that looked like. And so I was back in my recliner, just kind of figuring out like, what does that mean? And how did I get here? Is it that hard for me to ask for and receive help? And it was tough. It was tough. And I was kind of put inside out.
Yeah, a whole
And then,
life reevaluation.
yeah, exactly. I'd worked so hard. I'd done everything right, for the
Yeah.
previous decade.
Yeah.
I was like, what
Fighting
do you want from
essentially
me?
what knowing you through those years and up and until this incident, you were essentially fighting what you kind of were being led towards over the years. I mean, many people had told you over the years. I remember you telling me that you should be a
Yeah.
healer, and you were just like, no, 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 I don't want none of that. I can't handle it. And then you essentially had to have a full body breakdown, unfortunately, before you
Yeah.
kind of were able to slow down for a minute and think about it and think about reevaluate your life, essentially, unfortunately,
Yeah, it's
or
true. It's wild
fortunately.
to look back, right? I know. I mean, it was a little bumpy, but I'm really grateful for it and that I made it through and chose to be back here, and
Mhm.
yeah, when my healers that I was going to were like, "You're not going to be doing real estate forever." I was like, "You've got to be crazy. I've been doing this for 20 years. Like this is what I do. This is like all I've
My
known
bread
in my
and
adult
butter.
life."
Yeah.
Now I get it, right? Like, now I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it did take my body kinda taking over, unfortunately, for me to really get that message. And so I got introduced to EFT, and in 2 sessions, I started seeing shifts that I'd been looking for years, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm meant to do." And it was right after that decision that we got a call from the hospital, and they said, "Well, your lung tissue looks super funky, so we sent it to the lab, which isn't normal procedure for this, and there's cancer in your lung tissue. You have to go to treatment." And so that kind of blew the wind out of our sails again. What was interesting is I had been on this kind of other path, right, from the Western medicine. And come to
Yeah.
find out, 5 years earlier, there was this drug that came out on the market that helped with my type of leukemia. So I got on a clinical trial because my lymph nodes were pretty big that not many oncologists wanted to touch me at that point. And I
Yeah.
found someone that was really, really amazing, Dr. Stevens at Huntsman. And I told my husband, I said, because I'm going to be living in Salt Lake for a time while I get these treatments, I'm going to get certified in EFT while I'm doing that. And my husband's like, can you just heal? I'm like, no, this is what I'm meant to
This is part of it.
do.
This is part of the healing.
Yeah. Like it just
I
seemed
remember when
very,
you
very
told me you were
clear.
going back to school, it just blew my mind. I was like, cancer, real estate, and school all at the same time. You just don't know how to slow down.
I don't. Yeah, but it ended up being like the best decision ever, right? Because what it did was it took me out of this like linear idea of what healing looks like, right? This one way that healing can look. And it put me in this quantum field of like, there's actually like so many ways that healing can take place. Which would you like to step into? Right? And
What works for
so,
you? What makes a lot
yeah.
sense for your mind? Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
exactly. So I really I used it while I was getting my treatments, and my treatments went super smoothly. And then, by the time I got the news that I was in remission from my bone marrow, right, showed zero cancer in it. I already knew energetically that I either already knew energetically that I was healed, or my relationship with it had shifted so much that it didn't matter,
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yep.
And so it was just like, cool, like, that's really cool, but it wasn't like this huge,
It's on
like,
top of it.
thing that I
Yeah.
thought. I was just like, "Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's exactly how I'm feeling." And so, yeah, so that's kinda how Taproot EFT showed up, and then the universe has just been pulling me, super hard in the best, most amazing way. But I told the universe, I said, "If this is really what I'm supposed to do, then I will not be overwhelmed. I'm gonna have fun, and this is gonna be, this is just how it's gonna have to be." And that's
Yeah.
exactly how it's showing up. And it's really, really amazing. And I just got certified as a Heartshine EFT certified coach. And so I specialize in helping clients navigate narcissistic trauma using EFT and reparenting work. So it's just been amazing.
And I feel like it, especially with my having worked with you in specifically that, it's to me feels like that's what you're put on this planet to do. Like
Yeah.
that your body had to be like, no, you have a big goal, you have big fixes you need to do for the world. And it's beautiful. It's amazing not only to watch as your friend your transformational journey. You were already incredibly inspiring before all of this, and it's just been a whirlwind to watch. And watching you, like you said, you dipped your toe in and woof, off you and the opportunities you've been given, that you telling me the stories of the synchronicities, the childhood dreams that you've had coming true with being able to work with horses. It's been just beautiful on the outside to watch. And then to now, get the opportunity to work with you in some of these beautiful opportunities and doing this awesome thing, because how cool is this that we're doing this right now? Who would have thought this 8 years ago? We'd be doing a podcast about you doing healing.
So true, right? So true. May we always be delighted and amazed. I loved it. I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so cool, right? Like what can happen when you really start following your heart, and it can be really scary to make that jump, And that's why I love what you guys are doing. It's just opening up people's worlds of like, oh, this can really, like, this isn't that hard. Like I can just take small steps towards that, right?
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And whatever it is for anybody, obviously for
Yeah.
you, it's the healing world and everything that's been attracted through that. I mean, you got two potential new books coming out, the children's book and Together We
Yeah.
Rise, on top of your international bestseller. I mean, it's just, and you never thought you'd be an author, right?
No. No, I did not think I could write at all, and so that was kind of one of those delight and amaze, scenarios that I never thought it was never on my dream board to write,
Hmm.
but it was really amazing. You learn more about yourself through the process of writing your story than which seemed wild because it's your story, right? Like, who knows it
Yes.
better than you?
Yeah.
But it is really, really interesting. Yeah, and now we're doing the Together We Rise, and you guys are gonna be a co-author in that, which is so exciting, and it's
I'm
just
still overjoyed that I've been writing and that I wanted to be an author. So it's just, I'm overjoyed at the opportunity. I can't even
Yeah,
express how amazing it is.
yeah. It does open doors, right? Like, so I'm working on that children's book to help
Hmm.
kids when they're sick, with the
Hmm.
power of the mind, and it's just a dream come true. I actually wrote it 12 years ago when I was going through my first line of all the IVs, and,
Yeah.
there was a lot of chaos with
Yeah.
missing veins and all the needle phobia. So
Yeah. Ugh.
and so I know, you're like, "Next topic." But yeah, it just, it was a nice way for me to get my mind off of it.
Mhm.
So that was really cool.
And then it's speaking to other people. I mean, the publisher, yes, we need to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be I mean, the group is amazing. It's gonna be really
Hmm.
incredible.
I'm excited about it. And hopefully more interviews to come from all of these amazing, beautiful people.
Can't wait to have the opportunity, Sylvie, to be in that book. I can't wait for the process. I can't wait for any of that. And I will say, Kara worked for you, and I was really on the sidelines. But I think early on, you saved us as far as the nutrition and the food journey that we've been on. Because, hands down, we were overweight, just working in fast food. Kara would come home and say all the things that you were doing. So you were healing people even at the beginning. You just didn't even know that you were healing people because we started our journey when we were in Williams, and then we moved off grid, and then it sealed the deal when we started reading the books about nutrition and really what society says nutrition is. Work 10, 12 hours a day, eat fast food on your way home, and that's happy life. and which the whole time I had diverticulitis, I kept getting it over and over. Slowly, we changed our mindset and we really have gotten a lot healthier. So I think you've been healing for a long time.
Yeah,
You really
Wow.
helped us. There was, so
so
many people, but
you like lit the spark for us. You're meeting you and moving off grid like it had to happen. We couldn't have. It would have never been what it was if it wasn't for the inspirations that you had already deposited in my brain for what was possible and what life should look like. Because then when we moved off grid, it just like it forced the reset. It forced us to kind of disconnect and get away from all of the addictions and all of the habits that we had.
it was so convenient just to, eat out or whatever.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
So,
you had
when we
reset
started
so much
cooking
for
at
us.
home and, really understanding what nutrition is, Carrie used to come home and say, Sylvie ate whole stalk of celery today. Would be like, what?
Celery juicing.
What's celery do for you? I
I
just
was like,
had no
though,
idea.
I learned so much. It was
So that to me, and I got a question for you. So reading your chapter, uh,
hmm
what I got out of your
it,
chapter,
real
and
quick. What's the book before we get deeper? I can't. It's totally drawing the blank on the name of the book right now.
It's She Leads from Within.
She leads from within. Okay, so for reading your chapter from leads from within.
so reading your chapter, and maybe this is not true, or maybe it is true. When I read it, I feel like you're healing yourself from healing other people
Yeah.
through the other people. It's like the joy that you get from helping people is really cleansing your insides.
Yeah.
That's what I get. And then the other thing that really in tune with our journey is the part where nature, we like to go camping in nature and how the human body and mind really needs nature, the smells and the ground, the green leaves and the sky. So when I read your chapter, that's what I got out of it. And I was just wondering if that's kind of what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. So I think part of the reason,
Yes.
especially not only,
Say hi
hey,
to the cat.
Hi, Forrest.
Get out of here.
kitty, not only was it because I was already, in a full-time career with real estate at the time, but when my people that were helping me kept saying, you're not going to be doing this forever. There was a big part of me because of, recovering from narcissistic abuse and trying to help and save and, and just feeling like every time I did, I got more hurt, right? Like, and I was like, I mean, if helping people means I'm going to suffer, I don't know how I can do that, right? Like my body's like, I'm trying to survive here. And
Yeah.
and and then the universe is like, and here's EFT where you can like, I'm literally tapping, and sorry, the sun is a little bit weird. I'm literally tapping with clients, right? Like, so I'm moving energy too.
Mm.
Mhm.
And so that's been incredible because it's not, I mean, I feel like refreshed, even though we go to these
Yeah.
really heavy, heavy places. We both feel refreshed at the end, because
Mhm.
tapping, an hour of tapping also reduces cortisol 45 up to 45%, which is your stress hormone. So,
Yeah.
most people at the end of sessions are like, "Oh my gosh, I feel so relaxed." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, there you go." Yeah, because a
Mhm.
lot of times we're just in this constant state of fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been magical in that way. I did not know there was anything because I saw people that were really amazing healers go through burnout and stuff,
Yeah.
while I was getting treatment. So I'm
Mhm.
like, "Man, if you can't, then how am I supposed to be?" So I'm really, really grateful for that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the trees, that all happened after that near-death experience. I mean, I always loved nature, but it, like, started loving me back, like, after that.
Mhm. Mhm.
It just, like, it becomes, like, 3D and reaches out. I can see the energy of it, and I laugh and I smile and I talk to trees and stuff now, which may seem crazy, but it really brings me so much joy, and it's really
Mhm.
amazing. I keep thinking like, "Have you always been here? And I'm just seeing it?" Or, like or am I different? I mean, it's gotta be that I'm different. I can't imagine that
Yeah.
nature just showed up.
After billions of years, here we are.
And you do. I really think when I go hiking, I'm in nature, I feel energy. It
Yeah,
energizes me. So I really the
yeah,
sun and just the trees, the fresh oxygen, all of it. So you've brought definitely to the table nutrition and definitely the energy of the earth, and it really is
yeah,
energy for the body and mind.
yeah, yeah.
One
Yeah,
of
I think there's so many major pieces like that that are very simple, to put into place.
You just don't realize it though when I'm going to be 54 years old and I grew up on eating pizza and burgers, and
Yeah,
you learn very little about true nutrition. And well, for me, it was later on in life.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, especially, I mean, you guys worked in the fast food industry, right? So it's not like you're gonna, like, bring fresh food. It's a fast-paced environment
Yeah,
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
yeah.
You're just eating what's around you.
Well, and you have the American Standard Diet, the food pyramid that told you that basically a fast food burger is totally nutritious. You got some tomatoes, you got some lettuce on there, you got all your bread that you need, a little bit of protein. That's you got the full your cheese, you got your dairy, you got everything you need right there.
Oh my
Your little
gosh,
cheeseburger.
totally.
And it's but
Totally.
one of the to kind of circle back, like you were saying with the tapping and the reducing the stress, I think one of the things that EFT is great for because a lot of people are terrified of dealing with whatever they've got to deal with. They don't want to go to therapy because they don't want to confront their issues. And I think that's one of the
Mhm,
beautiful things with EFT and especially working with you is you you can confront them and you can work through them, but it's such a safe space that you don't feel drained afterwards. You
mhm.
feel more relaxed. You're actually healing your now and your past at the same time. And that's I think a really beautiful thing of with your methods.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the method a lot because it really just honors everybody where they're at in that moment. So we're not gonna force relaxation, we're not gonna force acceptance. It's not like, this like I mean, affirmations I think are so great in their own place, but if you like
Mhm.
force affirmations on somebody that's I feel strong and I can use my voice to someone that doesn't feel that, like, that's
Yeah,
gonna be, like, a hard no, right? Like, and so what I
it's
love
gonna
about this is
make it worse, re-traumatize more than
yeah,
anything. Mhm.
right. I love this technique because, I feel like I also, just because of my upbringing, was in that, like, toxic positivity mode, right? Like, it's like you just try so hard to be positive, and it really does not honor where you really are on the inside, right? Like,
Mhm.
and so it takes away that ability to be authentic, when we're just like we just like bypass the pain and go straight to
Mhm.
and everything is awesome. I think that's a
Or
song,
put
right?
it in a box and put your mask on like you put your
Yeah.
makeup on every day. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly, exactly. And so we just, I love the reparenting work is so powerful and we can sit with like a part of the body. Like sometimes it's not even like an inner child, which is just like our past
Mhm.
experiences that are frozen, but like if like your shoulder hurts, right? Like we can sit with that shoulder pain for just a minute and hear what that message is. And so a lot of times we can do this work. It's kind of like look over here while we help soothe your nervous system, right?
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have we're not going into the fire and straight into the belly of the dragon, we can,
Yeah.
like, start out here and make it real simple and easy and still move because it's layers, right? It's layers.
Mhm.
And
And it seemed to me that when you and I worked together, it was whatever felt the need to come up. Like, I would have in my brain what we're going to talk about that day, and that's not what was
Mhm.
coming up. Like, is
Yeah.
what your body is and what you know what you need. Your intuition knows what you need, and that's just what's going to come out. And you do a beautiful way. I think, what do you call it? Dancing.
Dancing with the
It's
energy.
beautiful. Dancing with the
Yeah.
energy. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I look at it as
amazing.
like when we get stuck in something, like limiting beliefs, which we all have, right? Like
Mhm.
different combos of. But like let's say we have a limiting belief that we're not worthy of love, right? Let's say.
Mhm.
Like that's a big belief that like trickles out into so many areas of life and it's a tough one to get into. And so like we just kind of like dance with the energy and I look at it like energetically like if there was a knot in our shoe, right? That like Like it's so tight. We want to get our teeth in it, and kind of like yank it a little bit because our nails aren't quite getting it, but
Hmm.
those knots, if you just kind of work them a little bit, then eventually they just loosen up and then it flows, right? We're just getting energy to
Yep.
flow in areas where it's been swirling. It's like it's like,
Yeah.
I look at like logs in a river, right? The water
Hmm.
kind of swirls around the logs and it can't go through. So we're just moving the
Hmm.
logs out. And then once
Yeah.
that energy can flow, then the weight is gone. There's weight to that stuckness,
Hmm.
Mm.
like emotional weight.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. And it's so incredible because like I said, I feel like you were made for this. Like it's just a perfect fit for you. You're incredible at it. It's beautiful to work with you.
Yeah,
I,
thank you.
I love everything about you.
Oh, good. I love both of you so much. You guys have been such a blessing in my life. And yeah, I'm really grateful that I ended up here. I never thought
Hmm.
this was possible, and it's more than I could have imagined. And it's an honor to be here and to sit
That's
with
amazing.
people in like these really vulnerable spots. Yeah. Because I
And
think
it's
sometimes just having like a witness that just accepts you for as messy as you want to get or not, right? Like,
Mhm.
but just a
Yeah.
witness that's there to be like, however this wants to come out, I'm not leaving. I'm not moving.
And I think with particularly what you specialize in, the narcissistic trauma, these people haven't had somebody to sit with them or haven't felt deserving of that, or they feel guilty in the first place to even have the conversation
Mhm.
with you.
Yes.
And it's an incredible the way you hold space and the way you approach me about it. You're just so delicate and just so God, I love you in so many ways. You're like, "You need me. Let's go," in the most delicate, beautiful way possible, and I just, like, totally opened up my mind to, like, "Oh my god, my personality isn't even mine," like, and it just, like, blew my mind and, like, it's been and beautiful, forever probably work in progress, but it's just been a beautiful journey that you've really every beautiful journey in my life, I feel like in the last 8 years, you've, like it's like, boom. I feel like that's how it goes. Like, "Here's some seeds," and I'm like, "Okay, we're flourishing."
Oh my gosh, you've just been so amazing to watch. I mean, you really like just take life by the horns, and just it's amazing to see what you create. You're a master creator. You both are master creators, and it's really, really fun to watch. Because it's one thing
We're
like to
trying.
experience it, but to watch it, I'm sure it's the same with you guys and me,
Yeah.
right? Like to watch it,
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, it really is like it's happening. Like this is so cool.
Yeah. It's and I feel like sometimes we forget to, like, check back on, like, how amazing our own journey has been, so to watch somebody else's journey is like, "Yeah, it's happening, the universe works," just like they say.
Yes, totally, totally. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and another thing that I run against a lot with clients too is, especially with narcissistic abuse, love can feel conditional, right? And something we have to earn.
Yeah.
And so just like shifting that out can shift so much in life, right? That like I'm worthy just by showing up. That's all I gotta do.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
not even like how I show up, right? Like just
No,
that I
no,
show up.
just that I'm present. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in
Yeah.
this human suit. I'm worthy.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. So, yeah, I really feel like this is how we change the world, right? Like, as each of us shows up more authentic, it spills out to the people that we surround ourselves with, and it shifts their energy, whether they get help or not, right? Like,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
all and yeah,
The whole world gets uplifted by you just being truly uplifted yourself.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, it's that starfish story. Do you know that starfish story? Where
No, I don't.
that guy there's like 1,000 starfish on the beach, and there's one guy and he's walking along the beach one morning, he's tossing one at a time back. I mean, there's thousands. And another guy comes up and he's like, what are you doing? You're wasting your time. Like, there's thousands of starfish. Like, you're not gonna make a difference." And the guy like picks up the starfish, stares the guy in the eyes, throws the starfish in, and says, "But for that one, it made all the difference." Right?
I love that.
Yeah, such a great story. And so that's just what we're all called to do for each other.
Mhm.
You know, we'll get everyone if we all throw a few in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up? Or do you have any other questions?
I think I talked my questions through.
He's all organized. He's got like a list. He's so
Nice.
cute. So this is how the podcast works. James is the organizer, and he has the bulleted lists and our systems, and I just say whatever comes out of my mouth.
I love
Well, I
it. I
just
love it.
have something so when it goes dead quiet, we have some questions. Because
And
she's
we
like,
add it out to dead quiet. It's fine.
because she's like, Sylvia would just talk for 25 minutes. So
Oh my
I
gosh.
was like, I want to have a couple questions on the back burner. But we do that when we do our episodes too. We'll,
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
do our cruising and find out all the information. I'll be like, how are we going to present it? She's like, I don't know. We're just going to let it go. So I always try to write something down.
It'll come out how it needs
Yeah.
But it's
I love
been
it.
an
I love it.
amazing journey to be able to create a podcast,
to. Hmm.
you know. And
Yeah.
I told her I was going to do a podcast about politics.
When we first started talking about doing podcasts, I wanted to do a podcast, but I wasn't sure what our niche was. I was kind of thinking food service, talking about what we've seen go good and what we've seen go terrible, and kind of because we can't help but go to a restaurant, critique everything we see happen or not happen. So I was like, that would be our thing. And then so I was thinking about that, and then he was like, I think we're gonna do a podcast where people just bring up stuff and I'm just gonna rant about it, politics or whatever. I'm like, no, that's not. People are gonna want to kill you. Let's
I
not
don't know.
do that.
I don't know. I think most of societies have forgotten what really government is about. So I want to expose our government. But I think, through really reading books and really finding
And again,
what,
you started that.
really what you want to do in life. What do you want to do? And we knew what we want to do. We've been doing it for a few years, and that's travel around, finding cool spots, and bringing our dogs along for the ride.
No.
Yeah.
So
I just love it. I think it's such a cool niche, and you guys are really good at it too. I mean, I know you were like you were nervous about the first episode, right? Because it was like you're working out kinks.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, these guys got it. Like this is amazing. Right out the gate, It's really
Thanks.
incredible. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. You guys are very, very good in doing what you're meant to do too with this.
It feels that way. I think every time we're like, man, because we've been here for 6 months or 4. I don't know how long it's been. We've been here for a while. We're like, man, we're starting to run out of stuff. We're gonna have to grasp for straws, and then it's just like, no, we don't. We got 5 more episodes we can do, and then we're leaving. So
that's enough area.
slew of episodes, like it's
So cool.
really when we don't stress out about it, it's so easy. When we stress out about it, it's like you can't think anymore. But then when you just let it flow, it just comes. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. I do those like minute and a half videos a lot of mornings on my Instagram and Facebook. And
yeah,
I'm always like shocked that I never have to like think about it. Right. Like just
Yeah.
like brushing my teeth, like what? Oh, I'll just talk about that real quick.
yeah,
That's perfect.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think when you're doing what you're meant to do, it does flow like that when you just allow it,
Yeah.
It's so cool how it
Exactly.
happened. You just click it into
It's like
place.
you said, you literally worked your ass off in real estate. You were on the phone 24/7. You were constantly trying to make connections. I mean, you seem pretty busy.
It's been good. It's been good. Yeah. And it's so rewarding, man. I never thought it, that moment that someone really connects to their self-worth, that they've
Yeah.
had inside their whole lives, but they just didn't see it. It's like to be able to witness that moment is like, holy crap. Like that's so cool. Right? That's so cool. That is like,
Yeah,
how
this
did
is
I
like
get
you giving back, really,
that?
really healing people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sylvie gifts all over.
That's cool.
Yeah, all these new awakened people who are now newly inspired by their self-worth. Now think about the ripple effect that you're causing. Now they're gonna bring that into their families, their workspaces, and it's just gonna keep. It's just a beautiful thing when you think about it. I mean, just how you're affecting everything. It's just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I'm very, very blessed to have found the niche, right? Like,
That's awesome.
it's really cool. So yeah, I'm very grateful. Very grateful.
So if anybody is inspired to work with you after listening to us, where can they find you?
Yeah. You can go to my website at taprooteft.com.
Beautiful.
And you can find me on social media too under the same name.
Taproot EFT. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being our first
Our first
interview.
interview. Yes. Yay. We love you so very, very much.
Oh,
Thanks
I
again
love
for being our first interview. Thanks for joining the conversation, Sylvie.
Yeah, always, anytime. Great to see you guys.
You too.
Great
Come
to
back
see
home.
you.
Yeah. 6 weeks. 6 weeks.
Yes, we'll be home the
Okay.
first week of October.
Yep.
Okay, I can handle that.
All right. See you soon.
Awesome, guys. See you later.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Kerouac's Cruising.
We're thrilled to have you with us.
We had a blast recording this episode and hope you enjoyed our adventures as much as we enjoyed sharing them.
For more amazing pictures and stories, visit our website and blog at kerouacscruising.com.
And join the conversation on Facebook at Kerouac's Cruising or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com.
We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review.
Your support helps us reach more listeners and allows us to continue sharing our travel experiences with you.
It's a generous favor that means the world to us.
Thank you so much for listening to Kerouac's Cruising.
Until next time, happy travels.